eventually roll out on your portfolio or on this property. If you click on the My Work, top left, and then Property Inspections, which is the third one down. This is a cool feature that Angus just rolled out. I would click on the bottom one. They just released it beginning of July. It's free for every client with Angus. It allows our chief engineers to go through the building holding an iPad, doing an inspection. We can totally customize these to have 10 questions. We can have 110 questions. We can have 1,010 questions. We can do them daily, weekly, monthly. Here are just a few of the things, the topics that we cover. We'll go to emergency generator. You okay?
Oh, start inspection.
I apologize. I'm moving through this really quick.
Okay.
You okay? Okay. So if, again, you're in the field, this is your tool. We're going to click on this question. Emergency generator panel is operable with no alarms. This generator hasn't been run in 6 years. I'm going to say no. It's very poor. And then I'm going to click on this little camera icon that you'll see in the left. We're going to go to camera. And I'm going to take a picture of that generator that hasn't been started in 6 years. And that picture is going to load right here in the app as a thumbnail. So when I'm done, right, we can back out of here, I can submit that. When I'm done with this, at the end of my walkthrough tour, I simply hit submit. It gets packaged up in a PDF format. And I'm working with my marketing group now to make sure that we can either A, spell check, or B, review these products before they go to the clients like you. Because what I don't want is the chief engineer typing with fat fingers and have misspelled words. So the final product will be a great tool. Enhances both the efficiency, and the technology piece. That in the old days we were walking around with a clipboard doing rounds every day. We have to go back. I've taken pictures with my phone. I have to download them on my computer and figure out where they belong. So in that vein, Dan, I'm going to give this to you. Sure. We're going to talk about another app. If you'll go out of that and then go into the MyBAC app.
Okay.
He's not an Apple guy.
That's all right. Just to give you a little bit of background. This app is provided by Mona. It's a building-specific application that can be developed for building-by-building basis. It's designed to be engineered and built from them to start, and then the management team would be able to update it to keep information flowing from there on out. So there's no recurring cost, just a one-time upfront cost. But this app is very unique in terms of everybody has ways of communicating with their tenant contacts, whether it's by email or through work order systems. But this app takes it a little bit further and penetrates every occupant in your building. You can give this app information to every employee of every tenant in your building. And I think everybody understands with the big push on the millennials who are dominating the workforce these days, they're going to be demanding this type of app. And I think it really connects your building and your asset to everyone in the building and makes it a little bit more sticky. So, for instance, this is kind of a home page, and it's showing that there's a filming going on in your neighborhood. You scroll down, there's maybe a trivia challenge or something that the building is sponsoring that week. You can scroll down again, it talks about some event that's happening in Los Angeles, the Pan Am Games. Another highlight could be some sort of special that your retail tenant is giving to folks this week. And then you can certainly post things such as a fire alarm drill or elevator maintenance, anything that's routine that's happening at the property you can post here.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this information that's already on here about all of these things happening or deals, this is pulled from the app?
This is pulled from the app. It's all information that's created by your property management team. It's no cost,
So
no
they
cost to
create
you going forward.
They
Correct.
don't use a third-party company to do it?
They do not.
Okay.
They create it. And then if you click on, I'm sorry?
So is the information pushed or do you have to go get it?
It is pushed. You can,
Okay.
you can turn that off if you choose to, like most applications. You can turn it off if you don't wish to be notified. But most of these notifications are automatically pushed. You can get alerts set up on your phone.
So if you guys are going to do a filing,
It'll push and give you an alert on your home screen. And if you click on the shopping bag, it kind of looks like a, what do you call that? This is a list of all the amenities in your neighborhood. You can click on Clean Car Company, give you information about where they're located. I think it's just an extra touch point to rebrand your building and to keep that in front of your tenant base. And we think it's a very novel approach. We have a client in Washington, D.C. who's considering using this for one of their properties that has a ton of kind of startup tech companies in that building. We think it will really resonate with that type of user.
So I'm presuming some of the property management staff are techie and understand how to do this stuff? I mean, do they have an IT system?
Yes. Yeah, they can do it all. And even if you have tenants that don't want to use it on a portable device, you can access everything through a laptop or desktop. So your managers in the management office and Joe go in there. It's much easier to feed that information and update things directly into a desktop.
Got it.
So,
Very cool.
sure.
All right, so that's the technology piece, fun with technology. My third bullet point was to increase your NOI through operating expense reductions, right? I've listed 3 things here that I think you'll find as both low-hanging, low-cost, really high-return ideas, keeping in that vein of sustainability, right? The first one is demand control ventilation. How many people go to lunch, leave your desk, go to lunch outside of the building? If you tenant in this building, you're going to have to until we can put some amenities in the building. ASHRAE calls for X amount of CFM per person in a building based on maximum occupancy. Traditional engineering firms open those fresh air intakes to a certain percentage open, lock them, walk away. You're now drawing in the summer 90-degree humid air to this rate based on a fully occupied building. We're able to now modulate based on CO2. 7 in the morning, CO2 starts to rise, we open up the fresh air. Noon, people leave for lunch, we close it back down. CO2 starts to control this. So now you're more efficient, your HVAC is lasting longer, and it doesn't burn as much electricity. Number 2, in that same vein, occupancy, we partner with groups like Acuity and Rexel, and we design lighting programs where we'll daylight harvest your natural light here. We'll reduce the lighting here. LED, you hear a lot about. It's great technology. Today we're able to keep kind of with, Carrie mentioned this is kind of an Art Deco building. We're able to keep with that design, while increasing your efficiency. And then third is condensate recovery. You can't go to a restaurant in the state of California and get water handed to you. You got to beg for it. Such a water shortage in California. So I've given a case study here. The $3,500 a year doesn't blow anybody's doors off, but the corporate stewardship and the responsibility of being able to save 500,000 gallons of water. This building has 28 floors, air handlers on every floor. They're stacked. They all produce condensation when their air conditioning goes down into a common drain out to the sewer. Why not tap into that, collect it here, in this cooling tower container, pump it back in. Or we can pump it up as irrigation to the rooftop greenery that we're going to put in as part of the LEED gold buildings next to the helipad. That's right. LEED EB, you've probably been told that 5 times today, that you need to take this building LEED. It's no longer the cool thing to do, it's the must thing to do. All your neighbors are LEED, and in order to attract those top credit, even GSA tenants, you have to be LEED. So, the cost to do that, we actually offer that in-house. We have a consulting team through our corporate services group that has resident experts that will work with us to get this building through the process, right? So, with that, Gary's going to talk about staffing.
Yeah, I just want you to take a look at the org chart we've created for this account. I know your time is valuable, and we're not going to go over each and every box here, but what we really wanted to point out to you here are all the resources that are going to be touching your asset in some which way, shape, or form. From the executive team, from the engineering team, from our IT department, to our accounting group, to our project management group. All of these little boxes, all of these people in some which way, shape, or form are going to help impact your goals in 5 to 7 years of your hold period. And all of these are paid for minus the direct staff by us. You're not going to see that as a charge to the building. You may be talking to some local providers that might be able to come in with a fee a little lower than ours. They're not going to be offering this type of work chart to work on your asset. We're a big national, international company, but we can act on a local level and provide the direct service you need. So with that said, let's talk about pricing. So we're suggesting a 1-year term for this assignment at a management fee of 1.5% of gross revenues and a minimum monthly fee of $8,000. And the reason we throw that $8,000 monthly fee in there, we don't think it's really going to get to that point. But if occupancy drops for some reason to a certain level, we don't want to reduce the resources for your building. And you saw on the last screen what we're going to be putting into your building. In order to get it to the goals in 5 to 7 years where you're going to need this recommended staff and the resources we're providing to you. So that is what we project to be our minimum fee on a monthly basis. Now that being said, I'd like to introduce the staff to your team here. We have proposed 5 direct, 100% dedicated employees to your property, starting and led by Stacy Komanowski. Now, Stacy is our best manager in the market, and I don't know, some people here might argue she's the best in the country. And we're fortunate with the way some of our portfolio is shaped up right now that we're going to be able to put her on your asset. So you're going to be getting one of our best managers working for you here. She's going to be supported by Kelsey Peters as a property assistant. So Stacy's going to be handling all the day-to-day, meeting with the tenants, dealing with you on a client basis, where Kelsey's going to be handling a lot more of the administrative issues like paying bills and handling some of the financial reports behind the scenes. Now, we also feel that the engineering side of the business is very important since we have provided an extensive list of improvements to the building, and Chris McEwen, like Stacy, is one of our best senior chief engineers in the market, and we're also fortunate enough to be able to put him directly on your building. So he's also going to lead the team of Bob Hager as an engineer and Richard Andretta as a maintenance technician. And all of those, as you see there, are 100% dedicated, and we ask you to pay 100% for those employees.
Thanks, Gary. I'd like to focus on the accounting and reporting. As I mentioned previously, it was our pleasure to work with you in the past, and we certainly look forward to working with you again. I took the liberty of reaching out to Susan Meinhardt to reconnect with her as well as provide her, in fact, with the one thing I think is very, very important to you, and that's our SOC 1 report. So I provided that report to Susan. Now, why is accounting and financial reporting important? Obviously, it serves a twofold purpose. One, it allows our managers to know how well they're managing the building. Two, it allows you to be able to provide information both internally as far as the value of your asset, as well as information to your investors, which obviously is very important. As I mentioned, we have worked with you in the past. We do have very tenured staff who understand your needs, your requirements, your timing. We understand you're very stringent, and we appreciate that, and we pride ourselves on the fact that that is what we do. We meet deadlines, we meet requirements. Internal control is probably the linchpin of everything that we do. We have well-documented policies and procedures. We have checklists. We have desk manuals. We utilize all those tools that are available to you anytime. And again, the SOC 1 report is available to you every year. We do that annually. So that you are comfortable that not only do we do what we say, but we say what we do. It's a means of verifying. So again, we understand your system. We understand your process. We know that we work in your MRI system. We're familiar with that. It's our system of choice, but we recognize it's also your system of choice. In the past, we've provided a security audit for you. We're willing to do that again. We will pay for an audit for our security so you understand and are comfortable that whoever's accessing your system from our perspective is in fact the person that should be accessing it, whether it's accounts payable, accounts receivable, general account. So we are fully committed to being able to do that for you again. We do, as I say, we're happy working with you in the past. We clearly look forward to working with you again.
So I got a question for you. I'm fairly new to KBS. You guys have mentioned several times you worked with Susan in the past. We're not working together. So what happened in the past?
The specific building, yes, the building that we were dealing with was sold.
One of the things Mark didn't mention is the fact that we have the centralized hubs in Chicago and in Pittsburgh. And having worked for other companies, third-party management companies, I can tell you that works beautifully for us because it provides, not only capacity management in our staff, but it's also redundancy, right? I mean, short of having an on-site accounting person that's dedicated solely to that asset, we've got 30 sitting in the Chicago office. We train them all the same. They all take the same. They wear the same clothes to work. They read the same language. They're all in uniform, right? And so the one that's familiar with the building today goes on maternity leave or gets sick for an extended period of time, or decides to take another job for less money, because they never take jobs for anything else, we've got it covered, right? So
Yes, we do. The redundancy is not just in Chicago, it's also in Pittsburgh. We have 2 regional hubs where, in the event we've done planning, contingency planning, where if something happens in Chicago, power goes out, we can convert our processes over and have them run in Pittsburgh. So we do like to have redundancy.
So, do your property managers handle any accounting, or is it all done through your hubs?
Currently, our property managers do handle some accounting functions.
What
Our-
percentage of their time in a day do you think they have to handle?
I think if you'd ask them, it's probably 90.
Okay. So does that mean they spend, are they challenged with this?
Clearly, to the extent that the property managers are challenged, if you will, with accounting functions, we recognize that certain assignments require more accounting involvement as opposed to property management.
Right.
Clearly, you are one that is more accounting driven necessarily than property management driven. But we do have clients where the accounting staff very rarely, if ever, hears from the ownership. On the other hand, we hear from the ownership on a very frequent basis, and not depending on who's the asset manager, the accounting function. So typically in an assignment like this, dare I say this, the more mundane accounting functions would be more than likely done by the accounting staff as opposed to the property management staff, again, as I mentioned with the act, so that they have more time and efficiency to manage your asset and not the people.
Good.
Great question. So with that, Mark, bring in the closer.
Let me kind of bring this full circle briefly and succinctly. In the beginning, we talked about what we know are the top key objectives. And in order to deliver that, we're making our pledge today to do the following. We're going to deliver high-level execution, employing your core values that we talked about. We're going to deliver a robust tenant program, including the use of some innovative technologies, which we showed you earlier today. And we're going to bring your investment to a peak performance through the repositioning and through some of these energy-saving technologies. If we do all that, and I know we will, we're going to get a result in 3 to 5 years of the following. We want to partner with you. We're excited about the opportunity. Next up, we're going to cover any questions that you may have or remaining questions you have. But first, let us ask one of you, when can we get started? 30 days. Thank you.
That was 30 minutes, really? Seems like 2 hours.
They took 45.
Says the guy that pitched Figueroa Tower.
Exactly.
We would have had to cut you off 30 minutes ago.
I have a question. Clearly you four have extremely high energy, which was great in a day like today when you're being, the last team. How does this translate to the local team? If we could hire you four to be on the property, we would. But, without leading the team, how do we know that you guys are consistently going to have something to do with the management of this asset and you're going to be part of our team as well?
Can I take that?
Sure.
Without a doubt, our differentiator, in my opinion, is our flexibility and our size. You heard Dan say that we manage 210 million feet. That's not 10 million feet. We're not a small boutique local company. It lacks resources and scalability. But we're not a 1.5 billion square foot company either that starts with a C and ends with an E.